How's it going today, guys? Today I want to make a quick video of the engine setup in the Cutlass, just to kind of run it down and show everybody a little bit more in detail about what's going on with the car as far as what's under the hood, what we're running for a power plant in this car. Of course, it hadn't went out there and showed out and run any quick time, so I can't say, oh well, this is why it's so fast or this is why it's whatever, but we're getting there. So anyway, I'm just going to give you a rundown, there we go, a rundown of what's in the car and how we have things set up, and go from there. So check it out. All right, so we have a stock, completely stock 4.8 LS out of a 04 Silverado in this car. It's a LR4 engine. I didn't even gap the rings in this thing. It's got like 140,000 miles on it, and we just put the turbo kit on it. It's actually a turbo kit from a 3rd gen Camaro, and it fits pretty good on here. I obviously added the air to water setup. We've discussed it a little bit. I'll go in detail about that maybe later in this video. All right, so it's got a VS Racing 75mm turbo with the 8375 turbine. It's a T4 flange. Spool's pretty darn quick. It is not lazy by any means. Even on the stock 4.8 with a stock cam, it lights right off. Got a Edelbrock Victor Jr. lower intake with the low profile upper elbow. It's made to run the stock hood on Camaros and stuff like that you ain't got a lot of clearance. Obviously here we got a lot more. I could probably run a high ram without even having to cut the hood, and I may do that. I don't know yet. It's not the best looking intake, I don't know. The thing I like about the Victor Jr. is I can take and do a regular elbow that kind of just goes like this, like a 90, and I can turn it sideways. I could have it coming through the firewall later on if I do a lot bigger air to water setup with bigger charge pipes and everything, to clean up the engine bay, get it out from under here. We could do that. It's got the crankcase ventilation is just these nipples here, excuse me, these nipples here. I'm running 2 oil fill valve covers, stock valve covers. I just took the, as you can see, I took the coil mount things off of it and just powder coated them. They're ugly as hell, but whatever, they do the job. So it's got Deca 80-pound injectors at 60 pounds base fuel pressure, so they flow like 92 pounds an hour. Plenty of injector to make the power I'm wanting to make with this motor. Standard stainless V-band forward facing headers for the turbo kit. 2.5-inch crossover which just helps it spool. That'll support a lot. People make probably 1,500 horsepower to the wheels on 2.5-inch. You don't have to have 3-inch crossovers and stuff. Maybe if you went T6 with a lot of cubic inches, it would be beneficial, but on something like this, 2.5 would get me twice as far as I'm probably ever going to go with it. All right, so power plant wise, still I do have power steering on it. I got a new gearbox and a Corvette power steering pump with a KRC power steering billet pulley. I think I actually have something wrong with it. It just heats the lines up. These lines will get so hot it actually will burn you if you touch it. So I've got something wrong there. It winds like hell, but I actually still have power steering somehow. Aeromotive boost reference fuel pressure regulator. The fuel feed line is a 10AN split into dual -8 in the back. It's not the best setup. It's kind of makes a couple curves there. I mean, it works fine, but it's probably not the best. If I were to really start leaning on it and making a lot of power, trying to get every bit of it, that would eventually be an issue, but I can fix that pretty easily. Let's see, eBay blow-off valve. It's like 50 millimeter or something, I don't know. It's got a 60 millimeter VS Racing wastegate in the bottom down there with a 5-pound spring. It literally only makes 2 pounds on the spring, just because the gate is so big. It's got so much surface area on the valve that it opens really early, but that's fine. Right now, literally controlling that with a cheap old school Turbo Smart Boost controller. Even though I got Holly and CO2 and all that, I hadn't really figured it out, so we're doing it old school way. Some of the pressure sensors, I got some low dollar 0 to 100 psi 5-volt transducers, and just some little fittings I got like off of Amazon or whatever to go in the 6AN with a 1/8 inch MPT port for the sensor. Works fine. Plug the Holly right in. You got your fuel pressure, which is pretty important to watch. I have one back here also for the oil pressure. Works fine. Let's see. Downpipe is pretty straightforward. It goes straight down there and ends right there at the bottom of the radiator. It drones like hell. We got to run the exhaust differently on this thing. I'm actually going to run it, kick it this way, and come here and out the fender soon. And I have a Stainless Bros teardrop tip that we're going to put here. It's going to look pretty good. That'll knock down some of the in-cabin noise as well. Alright, so the intercooler setup, I have this eBay air-to-water intercooler. Cheap. I just put some reflective tape on it, try to do everything I can to make it as efficient as possible. This is all hardline, like plumbing type fittings and stuff here to get it past all the exhaust and the heat. I got it kicked down here. I did have it just flowing off of here before. Of course, that's a lot more efficient flow if it just comes off, but because I'm gonna change the exhaust to come through here, I wanted to kick it down and out of the way, down to the frame, and then run it along the frame to the back. It goes to the cooler. So that's kind of, I mean, I don't know, there's a lot to talk about here, but then again, I'm so used to looking at it, it's hard to point it out. All right, so stock throttle body, as you see, we got an aluminum elbow welded onto it, because the throttle body opening, this is 2.5 inch, no, this is 3 inch pipe here, and this is like 3.5 or 3 7/8. I don't know what the hell it is. Anyway, so we got it welded on there. Got some of these flex couplers on here because it does tend to move a lot. We got the engine locked down pretty good, but we still got it where it flexes around and it's not going to be cracking pipe. So that motor can flex and torque up all at once. It'll tug on this enough, but it ain't going to hurt nothing. And it still stays leak free, which works great. That's exactly all we need it to do. So that's the engine. It's just again a stock 4.8. It's got the F body pan on it. We did have to notch the cross member up under here because it was hitting. Not really that big of a deal. Just a few minutes and some cutting tools or a torch style setup or plasma cutter, and you take care of it, no problem. I absolutely love the Holly Terminator harness and everything. It to me it fits even better than a stock harness. You can hide it, like here you can't even see the injector wires. I simply have it right there, but it just fits so nice. Like I love it. I just love it. It kind of does clean it up quite a bit. Yeah, there's a lot going on under here. There's a lot going on, but even still, it looks really simple, and if you look close. I have custom, obviously my coils aren't on top of my valve covers. This is one reason why, because it would just bake them, for one. Two, it just complicates things up under the hood. It makes it dirtier looking, and you know, just too much stuff going on. So I just got some plug wires that were universal. I made them to the correct length that I needed. I ran them through the firewall and I mounted them under here. There's one set. This is the passenger side, and the driver side is over here, under here. There's the CO2 that controls the boost control for the CO2. I may also go to a different style shifter soon, and I may put a solenoid on the shifter as well. Real quick while we're here, let's see. A really simple, crappy, quick car. The switch panel is not crappy. How I have it is crappy, by the way. Obviously, ignition, power, start button. This is my intercooler and intercooler bilge pump, which pumps the water through, but it also runs the transmission cooler, which is a derail or derailleur, or however you say it, from Motion Race Works. That's under here. It's a dual core with a fan. Mounts really nice, keeps it nice and cool. I don't have a trans temp set up on this car yet, but so far it's worked great. I got the Max turbo guard on it, and apparently it's made for like an S475 or something frame with a really large opening. It didn't fit mine just right, so I actually had to use a piece to put on it and then clamp this on top of it. Anyway, it looks kind of goofy, but it'll keep birds out of it, whatever. Alright, so let's get inside the car. So first you see the chromoly from Motion Race Works steering column with the strange quick disconnect, and the steering wheel come from a seller off of eBay for $125. I put some basic momentary buttons in here, and I bought the cords from Summit and just made them myself instead of buying them like directly from Motion or something. They work for now. I'll probably just get the good buttons from Motion, because you can't really afford to get up there and then you hit this button and it not trigger the trans brake. So I do have a smooth stage bump box coming for it. Should have it, be installing it this week. Hopefully going to go racing next weekend. So we'll have that, and that'll be fully adjustable. So we can adjust how it interrupts the trans brake to bump up to the line while in boost. So there's all that. I got a Speedmaster shifter that is apparently a complete knockoff of another shifter that's on the market that looks just like it. Yeah, I got the Speedmaster being cheap, and now I realize they just make complete copies and rip off people's patents. So I don't know that I'll be buying anything else Speedmaster. It kind of makes me feel bad a little bit. Alright, so anyway, that's the quick video of the engine setup, the turbo setup, intercooler setup, and some of the other details under the hood of the Boost Cutty. If you have any questions, comments, please feel free to comment, ask questions. I'll answer every single one of them. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next upload.